I may have coughed in your ears. I'm terribly sorry about that. I didn't want to do that. I just, yeah. Sorry if I did that. That was really unintentional. I went to clear my throat just as I was hitting the mute button. So, I apologize. 1 second, please. Was hitting the mute button. Terribly sorry. Had to make a few adjustments here. So, I am playing with the lighting a little bit tonight. Just having some fun. Of course, you can see the candles I've got burning in the background. And I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Oh, that's too much. Trying to set the tone, set the mood a little bit. Maybe I'll turn this down a touch. There, how's that? One of my cameras this evening, and I have no idea why, is it's not working. I mean, I have my studio cam, right? That's working. But my other cam isn't for some reason. My follow spot cam, my OBS, my OBSBot it's called. Let's see, is the zoom? Well, the zoom is sort of working. It's just zooming in on a corner and not on me. It's very strange and bizarre. I don't understand that. Oh well. Candle lights are working though, eh? Can you see them? Sort of see them. Let me just move a bit so we can have some candles. I guess I should shift. Well, to do that I have to rearrange the entire studio, and I'm not really prepared to do that just yet, because that's, you have no idea how much work that is. It's a day's work, like a full day's work. And quite frankly, I'm not, I don't really want to do that. It was enough work to just get it together as it is, right? So anyway, gonna drink of water here. That's better. So, let's see here. Let's just change that, and I'm gonna add something in here to make a difference. I hit the wrong button. There we go. There, okay. And that should do it. Let's see if it works now. No, that didn't work. Oh well. I'll fix it at a later date. I don't know why. Very strange. The camera just stopped working. Oh well. These things happen, you know. Hello, Leanne. How are you this morning? This evening. What time is it? It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need to put my glasses on. There we go. You can see a little bit better. If I bring the brightness... Oh, that's too bright. That's too bright. That's way too bright. Hey, I'm... good to see you too. I'm doing pretty good, actually. There we go. I like it nice and... trying to set the tone so it's nice and low and mellow and chill, right? Just add this. I'm just going to tweak a couple of things here. See if I can... there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. I think that sets the tone, don't you think? Got some candles going. They're casting a bit of a shadow. My follow spot cam isn't working, but that's okay. Let's see if I can tilt that up just a little bit. And And yeah, let's go with this. There you go. You can see the candles a little bit better. Very nice. Very mellow. So, let me just adjust this. I'm gonna just lean back a little bit here and get kind of comfortable. I'll just adjust the camera angle a bit. I wonder if I do that. That's weird. I don't know what's going on with that. That's very strange. Oh well. I don't know what it's doing. Interesting things with technology, right? I don't get too excited about it tonight because things are, for the most part, working actually. So that's cool, right? So, how are you lovely folks doing this evening? Yeah, I like the candlelight, eh? Man, you think it's just nice and chill. Sort of sets the mood so we can relax and share some time together. I'm going to get some more water because my throat's a little dry. Oh yeah, some of that high quality H2O. So I was just a few minutes ago, I went to see a buddy of mine. He just had a book release. Mark Bory. We appeared on the Dean Blundell show together some time ago, and I think Mark is on tomorrow, I believe, or sometime soon anyway. We were just chatting about it briefly. But he just had a nice book release at a local bookstore here in Ottawa, Perfect Books on Elgin Street, downtown in the core. And the book is titled Big Men Fear Me, which is was about a gentleman who was mostly forgotten, and I honestly had never heard of him until Mark wrote this book. A gentleman by the name of George McCullough, who was a powerful media baron in the early part of the 20th century here in Canada. He was he owned the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Telegram. He bought the Globe and the Empire Mail, merged it as the Globe and Mail, because they had the same initials as him, G&M, George McCullough. Anyway, yes, Mark is a lawyer. Yes, a lawyer, an author. He's written 14 books. He has his PhD, and he's taught history. Wrote for the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail. Did he write for the Star? He wrote for the Globe and Mail. Anyway, incredibly accomplished individual, but just super chill and down to earth, and really, really funny. If you've not seen Mark on Dean's show yet, check out some of the past episodes from last February when he was on once or twice. And if he is on tomorrow, you'll definitely want to check that out because it'll be so worth it. Oh yeah, he's so cool, so chill, and hilarious. Like just a wonderful sense of humor, and one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet. But he's not an elitist. He's just a smart guy and a nice fella. That's about all I can say, really. I mean, he's just a great guy. So, I thought I would pop in. I try and do these every 5 days, right? But I find that sometimes, life and schedules get in the way. Last night would have been day 5, but I was just, I was physically exhausted. So this is you're getting a look at the command center, if you will. But I was so tired last night, I thought, no, I'm going to do a couple of things at home. I worked at home yesterday and did an appearance. Yes, he is Salt of the Earth. Did an appearance on Dean's show. Had a lot of fun with Dean and Ryan, and then had some dinner and basically chilled because I was really tired. And then when I woke up this morning, yes, many hours before, many hours. I think it was about, from setup to tear down was almost 6 hours. So it was a long Saturday in the pub. I only had 3 pints though, because I didn't want to get silly when I had to, monitor the equipment and make sure everything worked. And it's a couple $1,000s invested there, so I don't want to damage anything, So yeah, if you had a chance to check out our pub show, we did a very different from this, although uh, just similar in the sense that we were having conversations, just a couple of us, and a couple fellas joined us online. Well, one fella in particular, Mr. Ryan Lilly, he came online, was kind enough and brought us around, which was pretty cool. And we had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good time. It was a really good time. So we're gonna do the next one on November 12th. We're gonna try and do them once a month, mid-month, and the 12th is the best opportune time because my vacation starts that day. So I'll do a show and then I'm off for 2 weeks. But I'm probably, no matter where I go or what I do, I think I'm going to still try and do the morning shows with Douglas. But anyway, that's a different channel for a different show, and we'll talk about that later. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, how's everybody feeling this evening? A lot of strange things happening in the world, as you well know. I mean, I don't want to get into the geopolitical aspects of it, but just weird things going on. And I know that they can really sort of drag a person down. So I thought, instead of discussing those things, let's just come on here and have a chat and see how you're feeling. So tell me, Leanne, why do you feel deflated? What took the wind out of your sails today? The state of the world? Or is there something else? I mean, you don't have to really get into it, of course. It's only say what you wish to. I'm not trying to pry. I'm just here to try and help. That's all. I'm listening. That was my Fraser Crane. If anybody remembers Fraser Crane. Yes. Yeah. Tired, the world, body aches, October, yeah, all of those things. I'm, as I've stated before, I'm not an autumn guy, and I'm not a fan of the month of October. And I know so many people who love autumn because they think, oh yeah, the beautiful colors, and the colors are beautiful. I don't question that, but it can get really cold and damp and kind of miserable, and the sun sets really early and then it rises kind of late, and then it gets cold, but it's not cold enough to actually, do any sort of outdoor winter sports like skiing because there's no snow and it's not cold enough for snow. So it's just that awkward time of the year when it tends to rain a lot, which is miserable. And if you're like me, somebody who has both anxiety, depression, and, oh yes, seasonal affective disorder, which means if I don't get enough daylight, I suffer. So I have one of those lights at my bedside that my mom bought for me a few years back for Christmas. And it comes in quite handy at this time of the year. I just have to remember to turn it on every morning. So what I've done is I've put it in my Googler stuff, where it will say, hey, Paul, remember to do this when you wake up in the morning. Oh, yeah, Scotland. Dude, politics there right now, really, I've no doubt they've really got you down. And I'm gonna get geopolitical here for just a couple of minutes. I felt bad for Scotland a bunch of years back when they looked at, they had the referendum, do we leave the UK, do we stay? And they voted by a narrow margin to stay. And I thought, okay, cool. And then Brexit came along. And now everybody in Scotland's going, Jesus Christ. Sorry, that was an Irish thing I just did. Then I want to stay. I want to be part of Europe, not the UK. Did I get that right? Anyway. It's a tough time of the year. Good, you spent the day with your nephew. That's wonderful. That's spectacular. I'd love to get a kitty or a puppy. Although puppy, it's more work than I can handle right now. Because puppy dogs need, they need a lot of attention and care, which I can certainly give. But with my day job and doing all the production work that we do and for all the shows we're producing, it's difficult to dedicate time to another living being, let alone a puppy dog that requires all of your attention. But a kitten, I could probably do with a kitten. The only thing that I don't like, though, is fur everywhere. It drives me nuts. Oh, that was a good accent? Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. I do the Irish one better than the Scottish. My Scottish I gotta work on. The Irish one kind of comes naturally because it's a lot like when I lived in Newfoundland, you know. It's very similar, you see. Then there's the sea there for Ken one, aye? Yeah, we have a good braai. Have some brews with me, bruh. Sorry. Fur and litter, exactly. I'm not a fan of fur and litter. I think I would have to toilet train the kitty. Oh, really? Thank you. So, you know, when you feel like the world is closing in on you and you just don't feel like you're enough, when you feel like you're an imposter, when you have those feelings of worthlessness, which, you know, I still get those from time to time. Not so much anymore. I mean, they do come and go from time to time, of course, but the medication, along with positive mental attitude, along with surrounding myself with loving, caring individuals, and you know, having this community that we have here, it helps me a great deal. I'm going to take those off for a few minutes because the glare is annoying. But when you have those feelings, you know, those terrible feelings, like I'm not enough, you know, I'm a burden, I'm this, I'm that, try and remember that none of that is true. That is your disorder lying to you, because that's what that disorder does. It lies to you. And quite frankly, it's kind of an asshole. It's not very nice. It lies and it tells you things that, like I said, aren't true. And, oh, thank you. What we want to do is try and get past those moments. And they can be quite difficult, I understand. I have difficulty getting through them when I'm going through them. It's oddly easier, I think, when I go through them on my own, as opposed to, you know, when suddenly you'll be at work and you just get hit with that tonnage, and sometimes that happens. Oh, how are my levels? Is it loud enough, or should I raise it a bit? Because I was tweaking with some stuff and I couldn't really. I get different levels here, so. Yeah, that's roughly Anne. Oh, I'm glad I could help provide some calming for you. You know, that's one of the things I learned about myself. Sorry, I'm just gonna. There, that's better. One of the things I learned about myself when I was in group therapy for insomnia, which, believe it or not, is a thing, I had a very good doctor who helped me a great deal. He helped actually everybody in the group a great deal. And I was, you know, very candid about the anxiety, the depression. I figured, you know, you're in group, let's just talk about it. And what I discovered was that I was really open to it, and how I was surprised at how much I embraced it, because I didn't think I would. But I was lucky enough that I think, well, when I was in there, I had no anxiety. Well, we talked about, so there's a million things that, and a lot of myths too, by the way, about sleep. There's a million things that can make it go sideways and backwards and wrong, and there are a lot of other things that can throw your sleep patterns off. And again, some of the myths, you need 8 hours. Nope, not true. You can function on 4. You can function on 4 hours sleep. Now, function and be productive are two different things, but you can function on 4 hours sleep. 5 hours sleep, you'll be tired, but better. And as it turns out, I only need 6 hours, and this is what we determined in the group. And I've stuck to that pattern for the most part for the last few years, because we had group prior to the pandemic. And I go to bed at 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. Sorry. 11 p.m. Well, my apologies. I go to bed at 11 p.m. and I usually wake up at around 5 a.m. every day. I don't necessarily get out of bed at 5 a.m. every day, but that's when I do wake up. And the 6 hours is more than enough for me. If I take 7 hours, sometimes 8, I'm tired. Occasionally, like if I try and sleep longer, I wake up tired. I usually wake up tired anyway, but some days I wake up more so than other if I slept longer. So I found that 6 hours is perfect for me. Now, one of the women in the group needed 12 because when she first came in, she was in pretty raw emotional shape because she wasn't sleeping and she had just lost her job. Things were going really bad for this woman, and it was heartbreaking. The first day of the group, I almost started to cry when she was talking about what she was going through. Anyway, by the end of the group, it was 6 weeks. By the end of the group, she was a completely different person. It was amazing. And she found a job where they would accommodate for her. She was like, I can't do overnight shift work. And the employer recognized that some people are completely incapable of that. I've done it. I've done overnight shift work. It's not good because I'm basically incapable of sleeping when the sun is up. I can take a nap in the afternoon for 45 minutes, which is, by the way, the ideal time. More than that, you will not feel refreshed. That's your ideal maximum time, I should say, is 45 minutes. 20 minutes is adequate for some people, and sometimes 20 minutes will do me a world of good. 45 minutes should be your maximum, because more than that, you start to enter into REM sleep, and then when you wake up, you'll be way more tired. And usually REM sleep, you only get about an hour or two, and it goes up and down throughout the night. I did a sleep study because I was, at one point we thought I had I can't remember the name of when you stop breathing in the middle of the night and you need a CPAP machine. I can't remember what they call that. Anyway, I remember the machine. I never had one. And as it turned out, I didn't have that issue. What I had was severe allergies. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and yes, you dream during REM sleep. But you can dream before REM sleep as well. Usually in REM sleep is when the dreams are really deep. It was this doctor, he's an older gentleman, but a pretty awesome guy. And he taught me more about sleep than I ever realized I needed to know, which was sleep apnea. Thank you, Elaine. Way more than I needed to know. Ever thought I would know. And one of the ancillary benefits, I guess you could say, about Zoloft is, and some people see it as a benefit, some people won't. Let me just adjust that there. One of the side effects, I guess you could say, is the extreme vividness of the dreams that you get, or have, I should say, from the Zoloft. Now, the Zoloft has been a life-changing medication for me, so if I have to stay on it for the rest of my life, I very happily will, because it's changed my life. And I was reluctant to go for it at first because I had been on a medication prior years ago that made life a living hell. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. And as I was saying earlier, when you start to feel those feelings of emptiness, worthlessness, despair, extreme anxiety, sadness, the imposter syndrome, those are all, issues that begin and end with both anxiety and depression. Now, these are the only, I'm not going to get into bipolar or manic depressive because it's nothing that I can talk to. I've never experienced that. Knock on wood. I'm very lucky. But I can speak a lot on anxiety and depression. And I don't know, some days I think that the anxiety, general anxiety disorder, extreme anxiety disorder, I think it's much worse than depression. I mean, depression, you feel empty and worthlessness and despair, and you can't get off the couch, and you have physically no energy to do anything, and that's terrible, and that really does suck. But anxiety, man, like the heartbeat, the sweats, the jitters, and you're trying to hide all this so you don't let anybody know that you're going out of your mind. That's worse. At least I think so. I think it's worse because it really does destroy you. Sorry, I just wanted to sit up there a bit. It really does destroy you in the worst possible way. So as I was saying earlier, the blood pressure, exactly, the racing heart, all of those side effects of are side effects, all those things that occur with anxiety. So when you are feeling that way, just reach out to me, because I can usually find time to chat. I can take time out to do this, I know we're on different time zones because there's people around the world that like to tune in. And I'm open to try and help anybody I can, whenever I can, wherever I can. Sometimes it's not possible because I still have a day job, of course, and that's how I keep a roof over my head until, of course, the rent goes sky high, and then I can't. But I'm in a rent-controlled building, so I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'll be all right. I don't plan on going anywhere. My goal is to stay here forever. Forever. I wish to, I can't actually see myself ever retiring per se, the sort of move to Florida or move to the tropics or something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be able to take, some time down there at the end of the winter, not the beginning. I like to ski and skate and play hockey, so I think I'd go down in I don't know, mid-March or March and April, something like that, or maybe leave right after St. Patrick's Day. Because St. Patrick's Day in the nation's capital is a pretty good time, is what it is, I'll tell you this now. And I usually like to spend St. Patrick's Day in the local pub there, where we do the pubcast on Saturdays. It's one Saturday a month in the middle of the month. True North Eager Beaver, live from the Lieutenant's Pump. If anybody ever wants to join in, feel free. It's politics free. We'll discuss, life, movies, sports, jokes, talk about traveling, tell some stories about things we've experienced in our lives, and just sit around and chat like we're in the pub, because quite literally we are. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I had an idea in my head of how it could go, and it went even better than I expected, so that made me pretty happy. All the technology worked for the most part, and we had a lot of fun. Okay, just a second. That's about as much whisper as I can do, because it really dries my throat out. I know that many people have asked for more whisper content, and I'll try and give you some more. It's hard on the throat. So let's try. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll succeed. If anybody is interested, I will try a guided meditation on the very next show. But what I'll do is I'll put a questionnaire in the YouTube space, asking anybody who would like guided meditation, so that I'll schedule a time and say, okay, it's going to be this day and this time. Quite likely Sunday evening. If anybody is interested in joining in for a guided meditation, I'm going to try and get it together this weekend. Yeah, I'll do it. How about Sunday evening at, let's say 8 p.m. Sunday evening. I'll do a ASMR style guided meditation. Does that sound good? Well, you don't have that, Leanne? That's too bad. That's a shame. Do you remember, what was it, Lulu's? Was Lulu's? Was that the name of it in Kitchener, if memory serves? I think it was the longest bar in the world. It was an old Kmart store. I can't remember. That's going back to the 80s, so, Okay, so Sunday at 8, we'll do a guided meditation. I just got to get the meditation part down right. The voice I can do, the time I can do. It's just the guided part, huh? I got to work on that. So it was the longest, was it the longest bar in the world or the largest? I can't remember. I think it was the longest bar, wasn't it? Like in the bar around the entire length of the Kmart, the old Kmart store, if memory serves. That's a long time ago. Let's see, you know what? I'll look it up, because that's an interesting story. Lulu's Kitchener. Lulu's Roadhouse. Last call at Lulu's Kitchener Rock. Yeah, that's it. So 2015? No, 2000 it closed. Yeah, permanently closed. It's now a Nike factory store. See here, Lulu's Roadhouse. They're selling it off brick by brick. Okay, the world's longest bar. That is, a once integral part of Canada's largest nightclub until business interests dictated it be sliced in half, then sliced and diced again. And after an all-ages dance tonight, almost 16 years to the day since it opened, Lulu's itself will cease to exist. Oh, that's wild. In its heyday, it was the crown jewel of nightclubs, a pleasure dome where baby boomers flocked to worship rock idols from their youth in the company of 3,000 peers. Ronnie Hawkins played there. A former Kmart store. 75,000 square foot nightclub. drew fans from as far away as Windsor, Buffalo, and Ottawa. That's kind of cool. Yeah, longest bar in the world. And longest, 75,000 square feet at the time. It certainly would have been. Wow. I never did make it out there. I knew a few people who went, though. But that was an interesting story. I'll have to read that later. So it's 22 years since it closed. A Boomer's Bar, yeah. There used to be a bar here in the west end of Ottawa in what's known as Bell's Corners. And Bell's Corners is a small hamlet, which is part of the city, right? Even has its own trailer park. I kid you not. Yeah. There's a couple of them in the city. Believe it or not. So Bell's Corners had the strip on Robertson Road. It was bars, restaurants, nightclubs, and a couple of hotels. Some roadhouses, a couple of pubs, a few sports bars. Anyway, they had this place. They opened it, and they called it Chevy's. And it closed in the 90s, but it was originally called Chevy's, and they catered to an older boomer crowd because all they played was 1950s music and had sock hop style nights with 1950s Sha-Na-Na Greaser style bands. I went in once or twice to check it out because I thought it was interesting. And you would get young people who would go in to check it out. Yeah, I say young people because this is 30 plus years ago. And I was 24, 25 at the time. And I'd go in and check it out. I knew all the music. I mean, I was a DJ and whatever. Anyway. But the crowd was considerably older. I thought, well, that's kind of a neat idea, but that has a short shelf life, right? Well, anyway, someone at a automobile company that owns the name Chevy. Yes, that's correct, Elaine. You are correct. It's Bell's Corners before Canada, actually. They got sued. Well, they got a cease and desist letter, and they realized we can't afford to fight this. So they changed the name of the bar. Can't remember what it was called, and I think it stuck around for another 2 years. Then it closed. Then it reopened for a short time period at a sports bar. Then it reopened as a Hooters. And that lasted for about 2, maybe 3 years. And then it closed, I think, permanently in 2003. And now I think the building doesn't even exist anymore. So yeah, interesting story about a boomer nightclub. I had somebody try and accuse me of being a boomer once, and I kind of chuckled. I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be great? You mean I would have enough money to actually retire and I'd probably own a home? Yeah, no, I'm Gen X. I would say so, Leon. Now, I mean, I'm 54, but I've worked in nightclubs for 30 plus years because I'm a DJ and a music guy. So I used to get out a lot. I don't get out as much, but there's lots of places you can go. Lots of live music venues, and a lot of the live music venues are run by people our age, and maybe a couple of years younger here or there. But some of the bands that play them are like my buddy Brian is in a I don't know if you would call them a screamcore or Norwegian black metal or death metal band, but anyway, he's in a metal band. And he's a few years younger than me, but only, maybe 9, but still mid-40s. And he, he still jams, he still rocks out, they still play from time to time. And there's, I guess it's difficult because, look, I'm a cishet white male, so I just go wherever I want and do whatever I want. So, I don't care what people think. The pub I attend, the pub we did the show from on Friday and Saturday nights, the age change by about 10 o'clock, there's nobody over 30 in there, except for me and maybe a couple of staff members. It's funny, but it's true. There's 4 years between 4 years between you and I, Leanne, and 4 years between you and I, Elaine. Oh, I got way off topic there, didn't I? I meant to, I don't feel old and creepy anywhere I go, I guess. But maybe that's because I don't think about it, maybe? I don't know. I think another fact there, Leanne, is when it comes to music, I mean, the beard, I get it. The beard makes me look old, but you get a lot of the young people come up and go, dude, how'd you get your beard like that? I'm like, get old? But because I know most of the music that they listen to, I still get asked to DJ the odd party here and there, and I keep saying no because since my hearing loss, it's really difficult to want to play loud music like that. And when I go to concerts, I wear earplugs, so I don't really go to, if I go to a live music venue, I wear earplugs because I had hearing loss this year, a few years back, and trying to DJ is difficult, and trying to play my guitar is difficult because I play like this. So this is, when I sing, I used to listen with this ear, and anyway, complicated. But yes, music is life, and it's the one thing we all have in common, I think, in the sense that I shouldn't say that. I was about to say everybody loves music, but that's not the case. I think most people love music, but some people don't. And hey, to me, music is life. And I don't know. Oh yeah, I play my acoustic. I have a couple of electrics, but I haven't plugged them in a long time. Music is life, and without it, I don't know how I would live. I mean that sincerely. I don't know how I would live. It means everything to me. Well, you can see some of the collection behind me here. Then I got a few different hard drives filled with music as well, and then all the playlists that I put together. Speaking of, let me just pull one up here for you. I did a Van Halen tribute show last year when he very suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. So I put the show together, and there it is. There is a Van Halen tribute show I put together a year ago. 2 years ago. What am I saying? My goodness, 2 years ago. Wow, time flies. And then, of course, whoops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. And here's the jazz. So the jazz show, very similar to this, in the sense that I continue to speak like this on the jazz show. I just play jazz music. And there's some stuff for you. That's just on the Mixcloud page. I have all the jazz is available on Spotify and other areas too. But if you want, you can check out the first link is the Van Halen tribute show I put together. Your drummer is a brother, or your brother is a drummer? I'm confused. I get confused easily because I'm old and tired and out of water, which is starting to take its toll because it's I don't know. It's not late. It feels late because it gets dark so early. And Scotland is where in Scotland are you now? Because that I know you're quite a bit further north, Aaron, than we are, and I would guess that the sun sets quite a bit earlier there. What time did sunset here today? Let me just check it. I'll check the application on my phone. The application. Does anybody say that? I guess that makes me sound old, right? I'll check the application on my telephone. My mobile. 18:13. So that's what, 6:15, 6:13. Sunrise is 7:23 a.m. and sunset is at 18:13. So that's that's pretty early. The days are just getting shorter from here on out, right? So that makes for a challenging time, especially, like I said, if you have seasonal affective disorder, and if you don't know what that is, it's a disorder affected by the seasons, of course. I know I'm breaking it down to sound silly, but at this time of the year when we have less daylight, and we tend to work indoors, so we're not getting enough natural daylight. The lack of vitamin D as a result, number one, and number two, your body needs daylight to help your circadian rhythm, which is what helps you to regulate sleep, sleeping hours and waking hours. So, as I said earlier, my mother bought me they call them satellites, SADE lights, seasonal affective disorder electronic light. Anyway, satellite. And it's just a flat panel that's at my bedside, and I just turn it on in the morning when I put it into my routine of, when the alarm goes off, it will then tell me to give me the news and say, turn on the light, and I turn on the light, and, It helps to lift your spirits because it, like I said, it helps to regulate your circadian rhythm. So it'll help you to wake up quicker in the morning. And it's not something, you're not going to notice it like on day one. It's not an instant cure-all. It takes some time, Oh yeah, vacations are great. So yeah, it's not a cure-all, and it's not instant. You use the light for 2 weeks, and then you'll start to see a change. You'll start to notice that you wake up better and earlier in the morning, and or earlier you'll wake up at the same time, but you'll find you feel a little bit better after the first few minutes of sitting in front of this light. You only need it 15 minutes in the morning. So when you wake up, turn on the light, sit in front of the light, and it will help you. Helps you a lot. Favorite films? Well, that's a good question. Genres, like comedy, action, adventure, espionage. I mean, I love the Bond series because it's pure escapism. Citizen Kane, I actually really did love, believe it or not. And Casablanca, one of my favorite films of all time. Believe it or not, and go ahead and make fun of me for this, but the film makes me happy, so I watch it every year. Love Actually. I love the film. It makes me happy. It makes me laugh. And yes, it's 19 years, and I'm still laughing at it. And I mean, films, I realize the problems with it, that we don't even have to have the discussion. I know there's a lot of problems with the plot. Some things that can be viewed today as kind of bad. Let's leave it at that. It makes me happy, and it makes me laugh. And I think that's all that really matters, right? It's one of my favorite films of all time. What else? Like I said, the Bond series, of course. I like the Bourne series as well. I thought they helped reinvent that style of film, which is what helped to reignite the Bond series, I think. Love Actually? Well, it's a story of, it's an ensemble film, Christmas time in London, and it's a Richard Curtis film, the same guy who wrote Notting Hill, which is also a movie I very much enjoy. The Ocean's 11 series and Ocean's 8, I really enjoyed that film as well. The Ocean's 11 series because I liked it with this, it was slick. I liked that it had a happy ending, because if you saw the original film, the original Ocean's 11, now I love the film. It wasn't a great film. It really wasn't, and it had a sad ending, but I love the film for who was in it, and you could tell it was just the Rat Pack just hanging out and having fun, and hey, let's get paid to make a movie. So yeah, really, I don't have cable TV. I haven't for 12 years. Just a couple of streaming services and YouTube, and then I own a bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs and that. Comedy films, well, anything from Monty Python. Love all of their movies, all of them. And believe it or not, I love the Bridget Jones films. I didn't think I would, and I very much did. I also love Jerry Maguire, but, you know, kind of a soft-hearted romantic in a weird way. What else? Love Actually, it's an ensemble film. It's really funny. It has some scenes that are kind of, I guess, shocking in a way, because you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And yet, they're really funny. So check it out. It's a good film. And you'll recognize some people in it that, some of them, it was their first major role, even though they were minor, bit parts, because it was an ensemble film, but it was the first major role for a few people. And Liam Neeson's in it. Trying to think of the cast. It's a big cast. Who else is it? Claudia Schiffer's in it. Bit part. What's his name? Alan Rickman is in it. It's a bit, I can see her face. Well, I'm blanking out. Oh, the guy who played Rick on The Walking Dead, he's in it. He's British, by the way, not American. What's her name? That she was in the Pirates of the Caribbean. And she has a few scenes in this film where I'm like, she's a better actor than some people have given her credit for, because she's a very attractive young woman. Well, I mean, she's in her 40s now. That's still young to me, of course. Thank you, Keira Knightley. Some of the scenes she has in that film, it's like the scene where she's sitting there watching the wedding video, and she suddenly realizes, this guy loves me. And it's the way she emotes, the way she doesn't say anything. She just looks, and you see her face change. And I'm like, she's a much better actor than people have given her credit for, because it's something to be able to pull that scene off. I love the film. I do. I love it. It's call me a sap. I don't give a shit. I enjoy the film. What else? Oh, just because it's a fun ensemble comedy film from the 60s. It's a mad world. A lot of fun. Cannonball Run. Stupid but fun. The Austin Powers films, ridiculous, but little heartfelt notes to Canada in there. Things that the character does that only a Canadian would get. For example, the theme song to Austin Powers, which is Bossa Nova Groove by Quincy Jones. If you are of a certain age and you are Canadian, you would remember it as the theme song to the Canadian television game show Definition. And then you may also remember hip-hop, a couple of hip-hop guys out of Toronto in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I guess late 80s, yeah, late 80s. The Dream Warriors, they sampled that Bossa Nova Groove by Quincy Jones and called the song My Definition. And quite literally, the Dream Warriors were the first hip-hop act to incorporate jazz over a rhyming style by really young people at the time. And I'm going to go somewhere with this story, so I'm going to give you a songs and story primer here. 1 second. So, before A Tribe Called Quest, Dream Warriors were doing it, and like literally rhyming over jazz beats and jazz samples and jazz loops. But they weren't the first to do that. That was actually Gil Scott-Heron, who did it in the very early 70s, when he read beat poetry over jazz music. He's known as the original rapper. He has a composition. By the way, I got a chance to meet him and see him perform live about 25 years ago. He passed away a couple of years back. But the track was titled "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." Let's see if I can find a link, and I'll put it in the chat for you. The revolution will not be televised. Revolution, there it is. The revolution will not be televised. And oh yeah, they're good. They got a YouTube link. I'll just pull it up here. And there's no video. It's just beat poetry over jazz. No, let's see. That's not what I wanted. Hang on a sec here. I made a mistake. I apologize. Okay, let's get this here. Do that. Do this. And bring it over here. And hit paste. And click. There you go. You can check that out if you like. Gil Scott-Heron. That's probably his most famous composition. He played Woodstock in '94, and you can see that. There's a video here called "The Bottle." I have one of his CDs and a bunch of stuff on streaming services. He was a brilliant artist. He had his issues, but like a brilliant artist. Who, like one of this one of the songs he has is titled "Who Will Pay Reparations on My Soul." He was a singer, and he would also read beat poetry over great, beautiful jazz rhythms. So, if anything, he was the first rapper. Let's see if I can find the last track. Yeah, I think I have it right here. Here we go. This was the last from his last album before he passed away. I think he died in 2010, if memory serves. And this was his last composition, and it's very, very cool. It's one of my favorite pieces from him, even though, I've been listening to him for years. I have some of his vinyl and a CD, and I met the man and saw him perform live in a nightclub, which was really, really cool. But, yeah, check that out. So, bit of a rabbit hole there, musical rabbit hole. That's how the Songs and Stories show goes, if you haven't listened to it. I try and give you some things to relate to down the musical rabbit hole. Tell you stories about the song, the artist, and how we're lucky enough to hear their visions that have come to life. Their visions, their sounds, their art. Because music is art. And with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. It's been a lot of fun tonight, and I want to thank everybody for coming by and hanging out. And I do promise I'll be back again Sunday evening. I'm going to put it in my calendar to remind myself. But I will do a guided meditation Sunday evening, Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you then. Okay? You take care. Bye.